Alright, another Survivor book review. This one is EMP Hardened Radio Communications. It's basically a short but detailed guide on how to have hardened radio communications that will survive EMP and CME type events. And if you study this stuff, you'll probably also come out of it with some knowledge on how to protect your other electronic equipment and other stuff in the event of EMP or CME type events. This is another one of the big scenarios the big boys study, not the least of which has to do with some threats of a North Korean nuclear satellite that some people have speculated is a EMP weapon. And that's not entirely speculation. I mean, there's some intelligence information that indicates that's quite likely what they either have or are trying to have and deploy as a constant threat over the United States. The book also goes into what the realistic expectations are of effects on EMP and CMA type stuff on radio equipment and radio transmissions. Like some stuff in here I learned that I didn't previously know is the EMP goes over the radio spectrum and can actually last a little while as it disrupts the upper ionosphere. Which means that if an EMP event does take place, you may not be able to use your radios for a little bit. You may not get a lot of transmitting going on, even if you pull them out of the Faraday cages, that sort of stuff. They recommend, or the author, William T. Prepperdock, recommends putting inline surge protection on a lot of your stuff. Now, if you live in an area that has pretty severe lightning storms, you probably are thinking about this kind of stuff already. They talk about using antenna tuners, talk about some circuits that you can put inline, power surge protectors, things like that. All makes a lot of sense. If you want to become well versed on that, the book isn't very expensive. If you want to actually put that stuff into practice, well, there's a lot of how-to out there on YouTube and other places, some of which is realistic and some of which is not. There's criticism on some of my stuff out there, but a lot of people's stuff out there isn't tested. What we do know is if you take some steps to mitigate the risk, then you're probably better off. You've done your bit. My personal take on this is I think having radios all set up, left in sealed metal containers that are protected, turned off, are going to matter. In the event of a CME or EMP, stuff which is not powered and active tends to do better. If it is powered and active, that tends to be stuff that gets roasted. But there's a lot of other detail that you can read about in the book. Not very expensive. It's available on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. But this one is going to be required reading for shit hit the fan communication centers.